Well, today we're doing something a lot of different. Very, very, very different. We are looking at a fella by the name of YUNGBLUD. It is YUNGBLUD and Ozzy Osbourne live duet, and the song is called Changes. This was put out 3 months ago. Now, or at least this video. I don't know if the song maybe came out a long time ago. It shows you how much I've been paying attention. Now, first I want to say that my heart goes out to the Osbourne family. I grew up listening to Ozzy Osbourne, and I learned how to play drums by listening to his drummers, Carmen Apici, and then Tommy Aldridge, and I just loved Ozzy. And I was such a young kid listening to Crazy Train, and when he died, I handled death a little differently. For me, there's only been a few stars that have brought me to tears. And Ozzy was one of them, and I don't want to cry now, but just for the fact that, you know, I just loved his records. You know, if I wasn't listening to a Prince record, this is kind of shows you the diversity of music that the regimen of music that I was putting myself through before I was even in junior high. If I wasn't listening to a Prince record, I was listening to an Ozzy record. If I wasn't listening to The Time, I was listening to Iron Maiden. You know what I mean? Like, I really had this beautiful relationship between two very, very different genres at that moment in time in the 80s, which was black funk and heavy metal, acid rock is what they called it back then. So when I heard that Ozzy had died, it was, haven't really talked about it. I talked about it with my wife, but that was about it. So, but I started hearing about this man called YUNGBLUD. And apparently, because I hadn't been keeping up with Ozzy news, he was a guy that apparently Ozzy discovered. Ozzy really, really took a liking to this kid because he reminded him of himself. And so I don't know the complete story, but after this, I've promised myself that I want to catch up. You know, how I listen to music and how I process the artists and the news is different. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just want to keep those things separate because I know how important it is to me to keep some of those things to myself and not be so, you know, outward with some information. So I respect the artists a lot. And my wife will even tell you, as many times that we've been around celebrities, I never take pictures because I don't want to bother them. And so in any event, that's just me. YUNGBLUD, I'm hearing a lot about this guy. This reaction is going out to our dear friend, Sarah. She is there in London. And I just want to say thank you. She's on my ass a lot about doing more like One OK Rock, more indie stuff, because she knows that I'm a rock and roll head. But we've been tackling a lot of the Asian industry. So I definitely want to get back into my roots. But anyways, let's keep this going because I'll just keep talking. This is YUNGBLUD and Ozzy. This is the duet. It's going to be the first time I've seen this guy's picture, but I've never heard any of his music. And from what I understand, I'm missing out. So let's count this down. 1, 2, 3.
She was my woman, I love her so, but it's too late now, I've let her go. I'm going through changes, I'm going through changes, I'm going through changes. shared the years we shared each day. In love together, we found a way. But soon the world had its evil way. My heart was blinded, love went astray. Oh, I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. Oh, yeah. Make some fucking noise. Brother, let me see that light all the way to the top and sing it to me. I can't hear you. Sing it. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. It took so long to realize, and I can still hear her last goodbye. Now all my days are filled with tears. Wish I could go back and change these years. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. Let me see a man to the air to the top. Oh, I'm going. I can't hear you say. I'm going through changes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Birmingham. God bless Black Sabbath. God bless Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow. Well, what can I say, man? I can see why Ozzy dug this kid. I can see why people. What I read is that Ozzy really, really took a shine to him because he reminded him of him. Which, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a movie that they're going to be making? I might understand that this guy also is going to play Ozzy Osbourne in a biopic or something like that. I don't know. I heard
I'm all about K-pop, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
Well, there's a life outside of K-pop and J-pop. R&B. Anyways, it was great. I'm gonna do a bigger dive into him because this song being a duet, the way they did it was cool. But I really want to hear this guy rock out. Other than that, what can I tell you? When I saw Randy Rhoads come on, that really hit me in the old feels, man. Because I remember being a kid and just knowing that Randy Rhoads was like the best guitar player in the world and that his life was cut short tragically at 16 years old. So, but you know what, man? I love Ozzy because he represented that kid that everybody thought was evil and hated, and he was just a little rotten punk and he didn't care. And he just wrote awesome tunes and was against the system. And that's why people just looked at him like he was just this Satanist. But if you go back and read his words and this guy was the furthest thing from that. But no one really thought to be patient or really, really examine the things that he was saying or to even, you know, ask him. You know, they just went on the fact that it was heavy metal, so that was satanic. He bit off the head of a bat on accident, and that was satanic. And then he really did bite the heads off of I don't know, a dove. So there was some animal cruelty that should have happened, but back in the 70s, I don't know what the hell was going on with those folks. But I understand he got a bad rap from that. But in the end, the guy was all heart, man. He really was. And was on a lot of drugs back then, folks. And cocaine is a hell of a drug. So, in any event, thanks for stopping by. And thanks for this, how do you say, this request to understand Youngblood and his music. Hopefully, we'll get to do some more a little later on. And if you have a choice or you have a reference for me to take a look at and want me to react to a Youngblood tune, let me know, please, in the comments. We'll talk to you soon. If you haven't yet, please like, subscribe, put that notification bell on so you know the next time we drop one of these videos. Peace.